Hello ladies and gents, I've been waiting for this video. US fighter jets just sent Iran's Mullahs into total blackout. Watch out, Max afterburner. Yeah, so US launched strikes in southern Iran and many places after Apache went down. I'm like, yeah, let's wait for Max afterburner video. Here you go. F-15E Strike Eagle, it says it in the description. I just, posted a video a few hours ago from 2C TV and Fox and many other channels, and the videos of actual strikes happening. And I was hearing like jet sounds, and I said it sounds like F-15 or something, twin jet. See, I'm getting better at this. I can hear the jet and know which one it is. It was F-15E. It's gonna be interesting. Let's do this one.
It's June 10th, 2026, and if you remember from yesterday, Iran is said to have put a Shahed drone into a US Army Apache helicopter over the Strait of Hormuz. Just wild.
What you mean, Shahed drone shot down Apache? What was the pilot doing? Sleeping? Those things are not that fast. How did you not see it coming? And how did you not walk away from it? Or shoot it down? I'm guessing this is the same Shahed the Lucas is based on, because there are multiple Shaheds. If it's different one, I don't know. But if that's, what is it, 136 or something? It's very slow. It's kind of slow. I mean, slow comparatively, but still, like, Apache can see it coming, right? What was happening there?
Could have been a drone swarm, could have been the Apache trying to shoot it down. We don't know the exact details yet, but the US military's answer over the last 12 hours has been one of the cleanest, coldest air operations of this entire war. American fighter jets just flew into the most defended airspace on the planet and switched off Iran's ability to see. So today I'm going to be talking you through exactly what they did, what Iran threw back, and how Iran's rhetoric is now even higher at level 11. And then stay about 3/4 of the way.
Why was there any defenses left in the first place? And if you knew where they were, why didn't you destroy it before? I guess ceasefire hand-capped the CENTCOM. Oh, ceasefire, it's a ceasefire. So CENTCOM's like, yeah, but we have these locations. Trump is like, no, it's ceasefire, you can't do anything. I guess as soon as ceasefire went away, they just pressed the button.
Through the video for the global roundup section, because a NATO fighter jet just took a live shot over Europe, and the Pentagon is quietly planning the biggest shakeup in decades. So we're going to get into that. And
don't just slip that in. What you mean? Did Russia strike down that jet? Oh, I hope not.
In the global roundup section. But how did we get here to this moment where Iran is being struck again, some of the radar sites? So at this point, the timeline matters, because Monday night, 7:33 p.m. Eastern time, a US Army AH-64 Apache was flying a routine air patrol over regional waters off the coast of Oman, right basically at the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz. And then it goes down into the water. Both crew members make it out, and if you saw my video yesterday, you know the recovery itself made history. An unmanned sea drone pulled them from the water in the first robot rescue the US military has ever conducted. Both aviators stable, and that ended exactly the way that every one of us who's flown jets or attack helicopters or any other aircraft want it to go if a rescue mission needs to go down. So thank God that the aviators are all okay. But here's what's new since then. Two sources familiar with the incident now say an armed Iranian Shahed one-way attack drone struck the Apache, which is pretty wild. But Iran is running the full gaslight mode. Their officials are denying any role whatsoever and suggesting the helicopter just fell out of the sky on its.
Wait a minute. So for a long time now, anytime anything bad happened in anything US related, they're like, we did it. We shot it down. And then it, oh, by the way, was malfunction in F-35. So they're like, we are shooting down left and right, showing armor footages and all that, just claiming victories. But now they're like, oh, it was on us. Oh, we didn't do it. Well, I'm just because they know what's coming now. Oh, we didn't shoot anything down. That's a lie. You flipped 180? Okay.
its own, and that armed Shahed drones in the area had nothing to do with this at this point. Yeah, we're sure that those Shahed drones were just up there doing some real estate work. They were just getting real estate imagery for some new imagery that Iran wants to buy on the coast of Oman. But the commander-in-chief had enough, and by 5 p.m. last night, fighter jets from the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy pushed deep into Iranian airspace and struck the eyes and ears of the regime.
Literally an hour ago, news broke that Trump said that big strikes are coming, implying this is back on.
Some of the radar sites in key locations around the islands and ports near the Strait of Hormuz. So as you guys know, we're seeing this military strategy versus proxy forces play out now in a massive way, and it shifts incredibly quickly. And that's exactly what I'm talking about in my upcoming book. You can pre-order it at mabbook.com. If you like military strategy and haven't realized yet that all the same principles can be applied to your life and career, then this book is definitely for you. I read The Art of War every year, and while those tactics are timeless, I wrote this book to show you how today's cutting-edge strategies can separate you from everyone else who just reads the same 3 leadership books and the same mainstream news every day. So check it out with the link in the description, mabbook.com. You can get a signed copy or an unsigned copy. I think you'll really enjoy it. So pop that link in the description. But now I want to go to X and give you a full breakdown of the imagery of some of the sites that were hit, and we'll see what CENTCOM is saying. Hey everybody, welcome to X. So here's what President Trump just recently said. He said Iran's military is a complete and total mess. Much of it, like their Navy and Air Force, doesn't even exist anymore. They have been completely defeated. Iran is all talk and no action. The bully of the Middle East is dead. They've taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will have to pay the price. President Donald J. Trump. And then if we go to CENTCOM's page, here we are in CENTCOM's page. So here's what they said. They posted a picture of an F-16 CJ. That's the jet that goes out and hunts enemy radars, basically acts as the bait, waits for the emitters to turn on, and then schwacks those different sites. So schwack is a technical term, by the way. Here's what they said. U.S. Central Command forces completed self-defense strikes against Iran June 9th at the commander-in-chief's direction in response to yesterday's downing of a U.S. Army Apache helicopter. CENTCOM forces struck Iranian air defense ground control stations and surveillance radar sites near the Strait of Hormuz with precision munitions from U.S. Air Force and Navy fighter jets. The operation was a proportional response to recent attacks on U.S. forces and international commercial ships transiting regional waters. U.S. forces remain vigilant and postured to defend against unjustified Iranian aggression. Okay, and this is Bandar Abbas. I wanted to show you guys this.
Yeah, the comment below it is basically implying that keep the RGC on life support and claim victory. I feel like American peoples, and even a lot of you in the comments, are getting fed up and questioning what is Trump government doing. Because USA could have risen the heat much earlier, they didn't. They are dragging out where they could have just gone on with a kill shot, basically, when it comes to infrastructure, and creating so much pressure, the RGC eventually agrees to American terms, and yet America, completely blown up everything they could find for a month, and then complete ceasefire, even when Iran was trying to attack ships, trying to attack Israel, and still ceasefire. I think people are confused. Like, what is happening? And to me, it feels like there must be something to it. It can't just be like, okay, I guess we decided not to attack. There must be some tactical choice behind it that general public doesn't know about, right? And now the strikes are increasing, so I guess we'll learn about it.
This, because if we zoom out, I'll give you a little perspective of where we're at. But this site right here could have been one of the ones that were struck or something similar to this. So here we are, Strait of Hormuz. Bandar Abbas is one of the main ports, not only for the IRGC, but also for commercial shipping from Iran. Their ports, they're getting their ships pushed back into their ports, as we all know. But when we look at this site up here, this is what could have targeted the Apache, sites like this. And as a fighter pilot, this is a juicy target because it has a lot of lead-in features, and it basically looks like a big bullseye. I mean, it's pretty hard to hide this thing. This is pretty obvious what's going on here. You got S-75 SAM sites. Those are also known as S-2s. Can even see some of the launchers on the back of this. So again, not confirmed that this was the site but likely something just like this. And then there's some sort of a bunker structure right there. And this was the next site that was likely struck from reports I'm seeing. This is Jask Airfield, and this was interesting. I wanted to point this out to you guys. So obviously a lot of naval presence here, a lot of IRGC presence, but if we zoom in onto the radar sites, this is very interesting. You can see they've got these massive dishes here that are pointed right at the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, those things are huge. Not going to be able to hide those things very well. This is probably something similar, some radar dishes. However, it's hidden. The direction that it's facing is hidden. This one's just plain obvious. These two are pointed right at the Strait of Hormuz. So is that what was taken out? Could be. Obviously, lots of comms towers and comms control buildings here as well. So kind of the eyes and ears, the nerve center of the Strait of Hormuz looks like it's being taken out. And why wasn't this taken out before? I know a lot of you have asked that. Maybe there was some strategic plan to keep this stuff operational for a regime that was easier to work with. But it seems like at this point, the writing's on the wall. Everybody's kind of seeing the zebra can't change its stripes.
Again, like I said, maybe CENTCOM had the, like in the future we are destroying this, but by that point ceasefire was reached, as CENTCOM couldn't do anything about it, maybe. Or it's one of those things, one of the tactics, like you want to destroy enemies immediate dangers points, but not all of them. So you have incentive in the future, like you can threaten your enemy with, see, if you don't do it, we're going to destroy this one. If you destroy all of it, you have nothing to threaten with. What you going to threaten IRGC with? You destroyed everything. So that could have been the case.
And the Iranian regime is feeling the pain of that, having their eyes and ears in the Strait of Hormuz basically being blotted out. Okay, let's pop to the third site. There's 4 total sites that reports are saying could have been hit. So this is a coastal area. We know that there's a lot of IRGC elements embedded throughout these different coastal, oh yeah, right there. IRGC naval base in Hormuzgan province, munitions bunkers, radar sites, AAA pieces, and again, just things, comms towers right there. Yeah, so this comms tower could have been one of the sites that was hit as well. Pretty huge comms tower there. Okay, and then one more for the road, Kashim Island here. So there's the minefield. We're zooming past that. Kashim Island.
Do you think F-16 CJs also said that, you know what, one more for the road. While we're at it, let's bomb that site as well.
Lots of different radar sites, the eyes and ears, one of the main islands to detect ships coming in the Strait of Hormuz. And this is why you can see some high ground here on this little satellite island from Kashim. So they're going to put comms towers, yeah, right there. Hingham Island comm site right there. Launch sites down here for surface to air missiles. And then even up here, we've got radars, we've got UAV hangars. So lots of storage sites, and some of these have already been struck in the last few months, but at this point some of these radar sites might have gotten a little double tap just to make sure that they're not helping Iran harass ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So here's the targeting chain, because at this point these fighter jets have to go into contested airspace, but they don't go in alone. The EA-18G Growler, likely some of the Navy fighter jets that led the way, and we call that the beginning of the suppression of the IADS, integrated air defense systems. Because remember, since the ceasefire has happened, I know a lot of you don't agree with the ceasefire ever taking place, but hey, this is where we are right now. With the ceasefire having taken place, Iran's had the ability to rebuild their integrated air defense systems, which means now you kind of got to start from scratch. So those EA-18.
What did I say when the ceasefire started? If you're doing ceasefire, you better make a deal. Don't give them month, now 2 months to regroup, restock, have some Chinese weapons that wasn't there before. I guess we'll know now, right? If you hear about F-35s or F-15 getting struck, probably some advanced Chinese stuff is in Iran. I know people say like none of the Chinese stuff work, and probably that's true. But maybe best Chinese stuff was never in Iran, but probably is now, right? They realize what level of strength America wanted to go in Iran. They've seen that. So maybe now Iran's like, China, give us your best stuff. We need it. And maybe this 2 months was enough. I don't know. Maybe it's not so easy to bring in stuff while USA is looking at the country with microscope basically. So maybe China wouldn't risk that. I don't know, man. Next week or two, we'll see. If any Chinese stuff made it there, did they regroup? Who knows? 2 months is a decent time to regroup and do things.
EA-18G Growlers, those are going in, blinding the different radar sites. So those radar sites can't actually shoot down the jets that are going to hit them. So it's kind of this big coordinated orchestra. And remember, the radars out there, those are the eyeballs for the air and for the water for Iran to actually control ships going into the Strait of Hormuz, to alert their Mosquito fleet to go out and harass a ship because of these different radars and comm sites. So will all of them be eventually evaporated from the area? We'll see. But at this point, it looks like EA-18G Growlers, those go in, they do electronic attack. The keyword for that, and the word we would use in the fighter world, was music. You basically send music. Yeah, we're just giving you some AC/DC, maybe some Pink Floyd or some Daft Punk. Any Daft Punk fans out there? Probably the EA-18G Growler crews are. But they're going to blind those different radar sites.
Yeah, I think you should play Disturbed. Yeah, that would be awesome.
By pumping all that electronic
Disturb
attack into them,
decadence.
and that's going to be followed up by F-16 CJs, highly capable fighter jets. These have the ability to sniff out radar streams as well, see where the radars are pointed, see where they're looking, see when they turn on. And then remember, Iran's going to use delayed tactics now, and this is likely how they were able to take down the F-15E also. But a delayed tactic means you don't turn on any sensors until the jets are basically right overhead. They're trying to make this as difficult as possible on American forces, and that's likely what these F-16 CJs went up against when they went in and struck down these sites just yesterday. You got the EA-18G Growlers. Strike Eagles can team up with those F-16 CJs as well. So the F-15E is a highly capable platform, and that's because it can carry so many weapons, and it's got redundancy. 2 engines, 2 aviators in the cockpit, and a lot of weapons, perfect for a mission just like this. So the US military didn't respond to the Apache attack by hitting one symbolic target and calling it even. They responded by degrading Iran's ability to do it again. And by leaving the really valuable targets untouched, like power plants and bridges, they're just sitting there. That's kind of a message. So we know where everything is, and we're choosing not to hit it yet. So Iran spent 20 years building radar networks around the Strait, and American...
If USA takes out power plants next, power networks, Iran will launch as much as missile they have on the Arab nations and Israel. Basically, like showing their anger, flapping around type of way. Because that would be a big deal, taking out power plants. Is Arab nations ready for this? Do they have defenses? Because otherwise, like, Dubai 2.0 will happen. Last time it attacked Dubai and there was like explosion, smoke rising in the air. People literally panic, like, how is Dubai under attack? It never happens. Dubai is that like attack never happened in Dubai ever in a long time until now. So do they have defenses? Like, I don't know.
Fighter jets just finished a lot of them off in one night, and they didn't even leave their number. You made it to the global roundup section, my friend. So here's what's going on here. That's pretty wild. So I'm probably going to shift to some Russia videos here in the next week or so. But NATO just went kinetic over Europe. A French Air Force Rafale operating under NATO command shot down an unidentified drone after it crossed into Latvian airspace. A live missile shot by a NATO alliance fighter over alliance territory, while Russia kicked off Baltic Fleet air drills out of...
I mean, that's not that big of a deal. A lot of Russians missiles and drone have in the past crossed NATO territories and strike somewhere. This time NATO just defended against it. That's not an escalatory type thing, right? It just means like, yeah, NATO is doing defense now.
Kaliningrad with Su-24 bombers and Su-30 fighters right next door. So the eastern flank is getting a little twitchy at this point. And then story 2, the Pentagon is reportedly drawing up the biggest command structure overhaul in decades, consolidating 11 combatant commands down to 8, folding CENTCOM, EUCOM, AFRICOM under a new U.S. International Command and merging NORTHCOM and SOUTHCOM into an Americas Command. Still pre-decisional, but if it happens, the command running this entire Iran war gets reorganized in the...
Is this good? You don't want to complicate things. Look, commands existing the way it does makes sense to me, because US military is that big, you need multiple commands like that. Now you want to add another layer to it. Isn't that like too much red tape you need to go through? I don't know, man. Doesn't that make things more complicated than it should? The more you create divide between where operation happens and where the top of the head are, Pentagon, President's office, the more you create layers to it, is going to be much more of a problem. How, like commands and how decision go through. Is this a good thing? I don't know, man.
Middle of this fight, but they get a lot more forces at their disposal as well. So now let's move to know the enemy and know yourself, as our boy Sun Tzu likes to say. But the rhetoric machine in Iran is in full afterburner at this point. They're in max afterburner. Could you imagine if they're like, we're not in max afterburner, we're only in full afterburner. We will never use the term max afterburner. I feel like that's what they would say about the channel at this point. But the irony,
They would actually do that because this channel, there was a video. Was it about rescue? I think it was F-15's rescue. Was the highest number video on YouTube for that topic. No Fox News, none of the other channels. Max Afterburner's video was like, what, 5-6 millions in less than like 12 hours or something. It was literally the top video. So Iran probably like, who's this guy? Probably hate him by now.
RGC announced in their words that the US is a war-mongering American regime after these different island sites were struck. So how did the Iranian regime respond? Well, they launched missiles at Al Azraq base in Jordan. That's the Mawafqa Salti, the base that has hosted American F-35s. They also threw fire at Kuwait for good measure. They kind of always do that. They're like, launch a bunch at Jordan. Oh yeah, a couple towards Kuwait as well. Can't leave Kuwait out. Hey, make sure you guys just add on a few tips for Kuwait. We're going to launch everywhere else, but obviously we got to launch some at Kuwait. We don't want to leave them out. They also claimed they downed an MQ-9 Reaper drone. It looks like Jordan swatted all of those different incoming missiles, 5 of them out of the sky.
This is happening at such a far distance. You can see slowly those things are rising up because that's the scale. This is straight out of apocalyptic movie. These are like nukes launching or something. Look at how slow it is rising.
Bahrain intercepted the missiles. Kuwait intercepted the missiles as well. Geolocated video out of Bahrain shows a flash near the US base, and that's about the extent of it. It didn't hit the actual base itself from everything that we're seeing. So it looks like Iran's predetermined list of targets went...
Yeah, probably CRAMs and things like that came into play immediately.
0 for 20 or whatever it was at this point. And here's the rhetoric that tells you Tehran knows it's losing the room right now. Foreign Minister Agarachi spent the night working the phones to Turkey and Saudi Arabia, insisting on Iran's, quote, inherent right to self-defense, including reciprocal action. Meanwhile,
Saudi Arabia, they're talking to Saudi Arabia. Didn't they bomb the hell out of Saudi Arabia in a lot of places just a month or so ago? What happened to that one? Did Bin Salman, that's the guy, right, from Saudi Arabia, did he just forget that? I thought he had reputation of not being so forgiving. He just forgave that? What happened? Like, how are they talking to Saudi Arabia? Turkey makes sense. They didn't really did anything to Turkey, but they bombed Saudi Arabia. I guess bygones be bygones. Is that what it is? I don't know.
Meanwhile, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, the actual neighborhoods in the Persian Gulf publicly condemned Iran for shooting at them, obviously. So when your retaliation's biggest accomplishment is uniting the Gulf against you, Agarachi, that's not really deterrence, that's a tantrum with ballistic missiles. And that brings us to the 40 chess strategic analysis section. So at this point, if we zoom out a little bit, the missiles that Iran's launching is only half the game. They want their drones to go out and wreak havoc as well during these negotiations, which is pretty weird. So it probably shows a lot of fractures within the leadership itself. And now President Trump is basically saying, hours after the strikes, that Iran is all talk and no action. So not a strike threat, that's a countdown clock placed on the negotiating table. Because it looks like Iran not even trying to come to the table with something that will be valuable, because they've basically drifted us along, grifted the world again for a few months while they've rebuilt their stockpiles. At this point, the future of the Strait of Hormuz, their nuclear program, the $24 billion in frozen Iranian assets that Iran wants released, Iran is basically saying that the United States is undermining its process through contradictory messages. So they're gaslighting as they do. Anybody else feel like their bad ex is running the country of Iran at this point? Wait, did we all accidentally date Agarachi from Iran? So what happens next? Does the supreme leader take the Qatari off-ramp, with Qatar saying to kind of be helping out with the negotiations now with the nuclear program and the Strait of Hormuz? Or does a predetermined targeting list that's been being built in the Pentagon for the last few months actually come out and see the light of day with more and more US strikes? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Would love to hear your thoughts.
Pentagon, all the generals, CENTCOM, they're all like, Trump, come on, pulling the shirt, Trump, come on, just give me a green light. Trump's like, calm the hell down, let me talk. And finally Trump's like, yeah, fine, do it. And they just start to blow things up. There you go. That's how US military works. I don't know, man. See, like, the real world is so simple at certain levels. We all seen this coming. I've seen this coming. I was saying that I'm not an oracle or something. This is just common sense. The way Iran was going, that was never going to be a deal. And obviously there was always going to be strike resuming. What type of strike happens in the future? Who knows? I don't know what USA is thinking, US military is thinking. But there must be some complex structure to it, because that's how Pentagon works. There is a reason all those people have those jobs and getting salaries. It's their job to think all these things. So there must be some complex things. CIA probably is involved now, right? Space Force doing Space Force things. Too many organizations involved. But yeah. All right. I guess I'll see you next time.